Hi, I'm Michelle Cooper, and here are some examples of class demonstrations I've been doing with my watercolor class lately. In the first instance, you'll see on the left-hand side, the blue and white trailers don't have very good lighting. There's kind of overhead lighting, but the little trailer with the red awning is different. So I'm going to do a contour drawing first, and then decide which brush to use. This is a water brush. It has the water in the handle, and it has a very sharp point and a very good way of drawing lines. However, I like this brush for the entire painting because it has snap in the tuft. It's got an angled tip. And when you get it wet, it comes to a knife point. In fact, it's called a dagger because it resembles that type of a weapon. And so we've got a very sharp point, then we've got a nice broad edge as well that's capable. So I'm using this. I'm going to use this one for the whole demonstration. Here's the example. See, I like the shadows on here. I'm not going to put a background in. I'm not going to do the trees. I'm just going to concentrate on, not going to do that sign either. I'm just going to concentrate on the shadows on the actual little trailer, camp trailer here, and let that be my demonstration for today. So get some water here. I'll mix myself up a shadow color. Got a variety of different blues here, mostly these warm blues like cobalt blue, mainly that's cobalt and cerulean blue. I'm going to let it get a little bit of red in it to kind of warm it up, make it kind of a purpley shadow. It's diluted, so I'm just adding and mixing the colors not too carefully. I hope that they do separate a little bit. Now I can use this dagger brush to draw. I'm going to draw with the paint. Normally I will paint at an angle. The paper will be at an angle. This is flat for the purposes of the demonstration, so it's a little hard to get my hand around here the way I want it. But I'll just take my time and draw the edges of the shadows. Cast shadows. They're all at the same angle, but they're going over different surfaces. See how you can use the tip and then you can use the broad side? This under here. You can see how the paint sits on the surface of the paper. That's one reason, is because it's laying flat, and so the paint won't drizzle down. It'll just go wherever you put it and create a puddle. But the other reason is because this is a Stillman and Byrne Beta sketchbook, which is a multimedia or mixed media type paper. So it's rather smooth. The surface is made to use a wet media and dry media, so it works great for the line part of this, but it also works nicely for the watercolor. It's a 180-pound paper too, so it's not going to wrinkle when you're painting on it. You can just alternate the tip when you want to go around some areas, and then you can straighten the edges out. Do some drawing with the tip. You see how I have the brushes upside down? So it makes it easier to use that drawing tip. Warm this up just a little bit. Now change the color of the shadows. Add some warm color in there. It's starting to dry. Okay. So shadows are just like anything else. They have shapes, just like the objects on which they rest. They help you to define the shape, actually. I want to go around some of these fence posts here. Get the brush a little drier and get some raw sienna. Add that in for some reflected light here. Put that into the shadow too, so it'll create that glow. Okay. I'm going to do some layering here, so the color that you see at the beginning isn't necessarily the color that's going to be at the end. Get my brush wiped off and just get rid of some of that drippy stuff there. Some more variety of warm and cool shadow shapes here. Let's see where. Oh. Some red, two kinds of red, a warm red and a cool red. I'm using organic vermilion and a permanent rose, I believe, for these stripes on the awning here. And I'll do the drawing with the tip of the brush rather than trace over any kind of drawing that I might have done with a pencil or a pen. See, these change a little bit because of perspective right here. Angles, and I'm not putting as many stripes in as my example had because this drawing's too small for that. Here's this other red piece over here. I have to get that warmer because it's going on top of some of that shadow color anyway. Go around the edge of that fence post there. Negative space. And let's get this kind of oranger. See, I can make actually a variety of different oranges. I'll start out with a red one and then end up with more of a rusty looking color here. Okay, here's this sunlit part of this wood frame. Put that in. Just adding some more colors on top of each other so that we don't end up with a solid color, just variety of colors here. Fence post here, leave some areas blank. Mainly, I'm just doing this because I'm waiting for the rest of this surface of the main trailer area where the painting's already still a bit damp. So I'm trying to let that dry a little bit. All around in there it's kind of wet. Yeah, see the fingerprint right there? That tells you it's too soon to go back in with any wet paint. You can dry off you could use your sponge to dry off your brush so that you don't end up with a flood of water. I like a sponge instead of paper towel because then you don't end up with a great big soggy pile of paper towels. You can just squeeze out your sponge later and you only have to touch it once. It keeps you from getting paint on your skin. See this shadow here, be careful there, the broad side. This paper is flat, so I'm getting some puddles here. Just keep working with it. It's nice paper. Okay. It's a really nice set of shadows too in this little trailer here. I couldn't see because there was a big ice cream sign in German in front of this, so I just made some steps. Same way with the trailer tire. I'm not quite sure. I have a feeling that there's a front tire too, but because I haven't seen it, I'm going to just, I have a solution for that. So let's see. Get some shape to this. Still pretty wet. Darker, less water, more paint. Make some green. Let's make a green for that underneath the trailer there. That's my idea. I'll get some raw sienna, some of this medium warm blue. Get kind of a medium dark here. It's not real dark, but it's a medium dark. Let's put some grass and some weeds underneath here in between the fence posts. And over here, get a little dark where I made up these steps. And I'll just cover up the area over here where I think probably there's another tire, and then I don't have to paint it. And some of this green too on top of these other two colors that are here. This old weathered up wood. This same thing. Let's get this weathered up wood here, wood frame around the windows, underneath the awning and the shadows, dark, those cast shadows there. Let's see, here's another wood frame. It's darker. Whenever you paint initial color, it looks darker against the white of the paper, and so you have a tendency not to put it as dark as it's going to be at the end. That's okay, because you can, with watercolor, you can layer, and you can kind of keep increasing the variations of dark shadows if you want. This one has a particular shape, this shadow here. Try to get that. It's pretty small as far as where my drawing is kind of small, so I'm not going to be able to get exactly. I'm not even trying to copy that photograph. Just trying to indicate some shapes here. Shadow shapes. Rinse this out. Dab it on the sponge. Get a new color. Some more shadow color. Maybe a warmer color here. See there, I'm dabbing off the excess water at the heel of the brush so that just the tip retains the color that I just got, and I can hopefully make this inside shadow here inside the window. Still, yeah, right here. So I'll layer this. First I'll start with some of the shapes of the lace curtain inside here. Again, there's not much room for detail, so just indicating some things, and then we'll let that dry for a minute. Go over here. Do the same inside this window. Get this window frame too. No, let's make this a little bit darker. A warm, kind of a warm, dull looking purple there. Now let's see. Cast shadows inside on the curtain from the awning. No, too much paint off of here. See if I can pull it around. No, I need more. Over here too, see how that dried back and didn't come out as dark as I'd like. Up here, there's some kind of surface. So I'll just make some marks up here. And it looks dark now, but it'll get lighter as it dries. You can also contrast with some of this shadow here. And describe the edges. Some little shadows at the top where it curves over. Let's see now. It's kind of a secondary shadow here underneath the handle for the door. And this rain gutter kind of a thing. Stick that around. Give it some dimension. And here's some more of these rain gutters along the edges here, and some seams in the construction of this metal siding. For the fold of the door, yeah, it's kind of recessed a little bit in there. And get some cast shadows on the steps. And alternate some colors for these sticks they made the fence out of. You'll notice they're probably not real happy if they see this because it looks like their fence is all broken down, but I'm doing this for the effect of repetition with variation, a principle in painting. If I made it perfectly straight all the way across, it wouldn't be nearly as full of character as it is now. I can put a lot of variety into a fence and create an interesting line that way. Let's see, get some, that's burnt sienna, no, that's the purple color there. This is blue here, this is ultramarine blue probably. Get some of that. That's the only thing about this brush is you really have to scrub to get some paint with it if the paint isn't really freshly squeezed out. I'm mixing, not raw sienna, burnt sienna. This is burnt sienna up here. Mixing burnt sienna and ultramarine blue to darken this shadow color here. So you can make it warmer by having more burnt sienna in it. Or like the wood color here in the sun. And there's that one little light streak. Okay, darker under here. Okay. Wonder if this is dry enough to make this darker now. Get some more burnt sienna. And some more ultramarine blue. That makes a gray. Now I got a browny gray. Now I've got kind of a neutral gray. I'm going to add more blue or add more burnt sienna, and you can make it warmer or cooler. So that upper left side there, the hair right here, that's a warmer mixture. Put it dark underneath here. Okay, let's take care of some of these cast shadows. Some of these recesses in here. Maybe underneath this part here. Give that some dimension. A little, maybe some more bluish rather than the warmer gray. Get this accented a little bit here. That's better. Let's see here, no. Well, here's a little place I can put a cast shadow from some kind of protrusion up there. There's one right over here too. I put the vertical piece up and then just press and just drag it a little bit. And that'll give me an indication of the sunlight as well. Again with this metal rim around. Now let's see, under here, do I want some darker shadows? And yeah, I definitely need to make this tire darker. That's better. Give me the shape of the fender there. Okay, darker in here and the negative space in between the, I suppose, where I really shouldn't be fiddling this much. Just put a few accents. Not much room to do a lot of stuff here. Decided I wasn't going to do a background or a foreground, so just kind of stay with the shadows on this subject here. A little darker edge there. Okay, now something with this. Shadow color here. There's kind of a cast shadow going across the door right there, so I can put a very light glaze over that and then unify that with the rest of this shape here. There. Let's see. Get this one angle right there. Kind of give myself a few dots to follow. Don't want it to be too dark, because that part of the trailer's more in the sun. This part's out of the sun a little bit more, so I can make some better edges here. Just kind of exploring the shadows now, making warmer, cooler variations in the within the midtones here. And get your brush, wipe it down, come back, soften the edges so they don't look like lines in within the shadow shapes. Just variations. Cool this off just a little bit over here. And this kind of exploratory painting is the kind of preliminary work I would do, so that I could kind of play around with the shadows. And then if I did a larger piece, I kind of have a road map, a way for me to really put in some variations, color variations. This needs to recess, go back into under the windows there. Again, this paper is kind of a sort of a smooth surface, so, and it's laying flat, which I normally wouldn't want this to be at an angle, so I have to be careful about putting too much water in here. I want to get that warm glow right there if I can, without getting it too dark. So maybe this could be darker, and then again that still kind of melted back lighter than I wanted it to be. Or burnt sienna maybe. Trying to keep that little corner of light though. That's better. See if that was still wet. And here I have some opaque white paint, sometimes called gouache. I don't like to use the Chinese white, so this is a very opaque. You got to get it right out of the tube, straight out of the tube. I wanted that to be lighter, right there at the top of that. That's supposed. Is there any other little light accent that I could put in? The edge of this, maybe up in here, recover some of that white space there. So as long as you don't do too much, you don't use it too much, then you can kind of get some more contrast going on. Or you can diminish the contrast if you like. Okay, toss in between. Yeah, there's just not a lot of room here. Just keep going back for thicker paint if you want it to stay white, because otherwise it'll just kind of blend down in. Okay, rinse that off really good. Handy thing to have. Okay, I think I'm pretty much finished here. See the reference? See that glow I was trying to get underneath the awning there? And if you start looking at those colors of shadows, you notice there's a lot of variation in it. So I find that's a lot more fun to paint than maybe an overhead light or top light like this first one. Got a lot more variation that you can find in the colors of the shadows, and they describe your shapes better and gives you a lot of more contrast and quite a lot of fun actually. And you can see there's a few little orange dots in the left-hand window there that I added for possibly something in the window. That's about it. That's the only other thing that I did that I didn't do on camera. So thanks for watching my demonstration, and I hope you give something like this a try. Bye for now.